So, good morning to all of you. We have a very cozy, tiny little audience here, but we are happy to have our speakers and their respective readers with them for this session. It's our Twice Told Tales session, which we do for the third time now. We had it in the last 2 days. It is about it is an intimate situation, about intimate readings of translations. What I would like to do first, I would like to welcome you. I would like to introduce our two speakers, and then we have a short discussion and then readings. I have with me on my left-hand side Sukrita Kumar. She's a poet, translator, and artist. She currently holds the Aruna Asaf Ali Chair at Delhi University, was formerly a fellow of the Indian Institute of Advanced Study in Shimla, the International Writing Program in Iowa, and Hong Kong Baptist University. Her books include Dreamcatcher, Untitled, and Poems Come Home, with Hindustani translations of her poems by Gulzar, Narrating Partition, Conversations on Modernism, and The New Story. Her latest work is the translated novel Blind, which is the one we are hearing from today. With her is Pratishta Singh, who will read the Hindi text, right? Then, on the right-hand side, we have Bhainchand Patel. He's passionate about films and has served on juries at various international film festivals and has authored Bollywood's top 20 superstars of Indian cinema, as well as the best-selling novel Mothers, Lovers, and Other Strangers, that has been translated and published in Hindi under the title Hath Ke Lakere. So we are very pleased to have, and with him is, of course, Vishali Chain, who will read from the Hindi version. I would like to start off with Sukrita and just to give us a brief background of Blind. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about how it came into being, what the translation means to you, and maybe a little bit also about the content to just better understand the book.
Thank you, Christoph. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. I think what I'll do is I'll very quickly tell you how the novel came into being, because I've had the privilege of also kind of having long chats, and I've also been with the author, and the author happens to be my father. So I saw it coming into being, as it were. And the problem was that there was a certain kind of sense of attachment and yet distance, because I was not the first reader. It was always my mother in the center. And I was very conscious that literature was my vocation, and therefore, I was kind of getting drawn into the process. And yet I was, as a daughter would, or as a, I don't know whether to use the term reaction, but I would try not to be too close, like you are also reacting always to a parent, because there was always the danger of getting too much, influenced. And I was writing myself. So the presence of a father in the house, and who's almost, there's a kind of hero worship going on as far as my mother is concerned. So I was always reacting and taking sides with the mother whenever there was a fight in the house. So the same kind of thing would happen, even from the point of view of literature that was happening in the house all the time. Now, going into Blind, you see, but I learned, but there came a certain point when I gained a lot of confidence in my own self and poetry and everything. Then I think my process of detachment was in a way complete. And I was in a position to be able to write and think more objectively about what he was doing. That's one. But this particular, the creative process that I want to very quickly mention here, to me was absolutely intriguing. And I'll tell you about that. 30 years before starting to write this particular novel, this author happened to, in Kenya, visit a blind home. And in that blind home, and I'm saying Kenya, And I'm saying blind. This blind home, particularly with Africans who are beautifully black and not able to see, and the world is black, right? And my father says, let me not say father, the author kept saying, that haunts me, that visit that I did. It's about 40, 50 miles away from Nairobi. Machakos is the name of that place where the blind home is. And, eyes without light on dark features. And, and he was kind of so baffled. The image haunted him till 30 years later when he started to write this novel, right? Because he wanted to have it out. It was just the beginning. The seed was sown at that time. Now, when the book started to happen, he wrote it day and night, like in a frenzy. And then he was very excited. He started reading it out to my mother, and I was in and out of the room. He was reading out every day 2 or 3 chapters, whatever. And then one fine day, he just got up and he was in a very bad temper with himself, and he tore off the draft that he had written. And it was shocking for the house because we had seen him struggling to write, agonizing over it. And then he said, look, I actually sat down and cried, and my mother was saying, what's happening? Why are you, putting all this, why are you trashing this work of, I don't know how many months? And he said, look, it's telling a lie. It's not the world of the blind that I've created. It is a seeing author that has created the world of the so-called blind. I'm not convinced. It's telling a lie. And then he went through the whole process again after a month's practice of being blind. With closed eyes, he would grope around in the house. It was ludicrous for many people. They couldn't understand what was happening. But it actually was very experiential at the end of it all. The owning, because he realized that he had to create the world of the blind, which is not the same as the world of the seeing people. And for that, he said he needed to experience it all. So all the words that are used here, they're charged. It's not just words. They're charged with, as though it is a different universe. And so, throughout in the novel, this becomes a kind of a metaphor, as if, of seeing, not seeing, sight, insight, looking and seeing. All of this is referred to again and again. What we take for granted in the world of seeing people. So that's how it happened.
Great, fantastic. We had briefly a conversation before this session, and we were talking about the 2 translations, and Pratisha said she had an observation about the 2 texts. Maybe, I don't know if we can just hear, because I thought it's very interesting what she said, and maybe you can also comment on the process of translation, what your observation was of the 2 versions, because I think that summarizes it very well.
I have read the Hindi translation because it's in Urdu. The original is in Urdu. I've read the Hindi translation of Nadid. It's called Nadid in Hindi as well. And the Hindi translation is done by Krishna Paul, the wife of the author. And the English translation, Blind, is done by the daughter of the author. And I just feel that somehow in the Hindi translation, I can recognize Paul Saab in a few words, which are his words, which are his expressions, and you can recognize him there. While in the English translation, strangely enough, because one would believe that Hindi would be the language closer to Urdu, strangely enough, in English, I felt that it was closer to his style of abstraction also sometimes, which the novel has, these phases where, and so I was just telling her, and I was telling her that I'm sure you will not agree with me, maybe, that because of the father-daughter relationship somewhere, you have internalized, maybe not genetically, maybe behaviorally, maybe, I don't know, on so many levels, experientially, his style so much better than the wife of the author has, because I mean, it's still a beautiful read, even here. But here I recognize him just in a few phrases, in a few words. And there, it's really his abstract self in many ways. And I really like that.
Do you agree?
I would say one thing, because when I was translating, I was looking at both Hindi and Urdu, versions. Urdu original, and I believe that Hindi, I thought was very, very close initially. But yes, you're right. You know what I think she ended up doing, and she'll quarrel with me if I talk to her about this. Not really, actually, because she won't. She was, because, she's passive as a wife. So she's not, she has had her own strategies of tyranny, that's different, but she has been passive. So I remember these discussions when he would say, if you're doing it in Hindi, it better be totally Hindi, right? So what she did was, she was trying to bring in the Hindi expression. And I think that in that it becomes a little patchy.
And not him.
Yeah, a little patchy in the sense either it should have been totally Hindiized in terms of vocabulary. So you have the word, say for instance, tasavvur. उसके साथ ही अगर आप संस्कृति डाल दें या ऐसा कोई वर्ड, तो इट्स अ मिसमैच. तो ऐसे इस किताब में हुआ है, हिंदी वाला जो है. So I also react to that, and I think that is what perhaps you are saying. But you're right, in the process of you talking about my experience as translator, and it has been, I have been really agonizing over it. There have been 2 or 3 people who helped me out in a big way, and yet I was owning it mostly, the translation. Mostly I owned it because the primary responsibility was mine. And I was not getting satisfied because it had nothing to do with, translating like he did. It was nothing to do with the idea of translating vocabulary or, vaguely the spirit. It had to be the entire style. It had to be a reproduction of the world of darkness or semblance of darkness with some who are seeing, not seeing. So that suspension between the seeing and the sighted and the unsighted or sightless people. So I was also playing with that. And in order to, what is very interesting is that playfulness required so much effort. Playfulness required so much effort. It was great fun, like you're playing kabaddi. कबड्डी खेलते हैं तो होता है ना, भाग भी रहे हैं और टेंशन भी है, क्राइसिस भी हो रहा है, एवरीथिंग इज हैपनिंग साइमल्टेनियसली. और जब वो हो जाती है, चीज़ पकड़ में आ जाती है, तो देयर इज अ हुर्रे एलिमेंट अबाउट इट. बट द मोमेंट देयर वुड बी अ हुर्रे एलिमेंट, देयर वुड बी अनदर पैसेज स्टैंडिंग बिफोर यू विद द चैलेंजिंग. बट आई मस्ट टेल यू, I'm talking about it very confidently today. Why? Because I am talking as a translator, more as a translator, less as a daughter. I was totally, I've also been, I am an academic, and so academics has taught me, that whole domain has taught me how to objectify. I'm a great fan of the outdated T.S. Eliot's mode, which is objective correlative. And I think, humbly I think, that in this translation, I think there is a creation of a total objective correlative in the context of the metaphor of blindness coming alive. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. could we just get a feeling for the translation, or actually the 2 translations, because I've just learned that even the Hindi is a translation already, so maybe we can hear a few passages from the 2 books.
I'll begin from the beginning, which sounds like the middle, in one sense, right? It's entitled Sharfu. Each of us has his own way of seeing. Who can tell how the other sees? As for me, I see the whole world within myself, lofty mountain peaks that pierce my insides, wide rivers in whose eddies I sometimes get trapped. Dashing against the rocks, I smash into pieces. But my banks gather all the pieces from the flowing waters, put them together, and carry me to a safe and secluded Maidan. Within me lies the world of worlds. Many places in this world have been torn and worn by cruel seasons, but somehow I managed to patiently build kacha pakka bridges so that no part of me remains isolated. I arrive wherever I wish to reach. I arrive wherever I wish to reach the very moment the thought of getting there comes to me. I live in every speck and atom of this universe of mine. No, I'm not making my claim or any claim to godhood. The truth is that I was born blind, and I lie inside myself quietly. Quietly? No, that's a lie. And it is also a lie that all of my fragments lie scattered. The truth is that all my bridges are broken. I comfort myself in vain. In fact, blind as I am unable to reach anywhere. Even if I have to reach my mouth from my ears, I fall with a thud on the way. The mention of mouth, ears, and all reminds me of a curious incident that took place a few days ago. The three of us from a home for the blind were sitting together after lunch when Bhola said, Yaro, life stinks. But if we spend it together, it won't be so bad. Bhola always comes out with such meaningful observations, so both of us listened to him very attentively. The distance from inside to outside stretches across in an awfully tangled length, Yaro. I keep falling on my face even if I have to travel from my head to my belly. Yes, Bhola, precisely. This is the problem when it is one's fate to fill the belly with just thoughts. And then with a full belly, who can remember the way back to the head? Shall I ask you something, Bhola? Why return to the head anyway? As for me, once my stomach is full, I lie crouched in the middle with my legs under my belly. That's it, Bhola. A full belly makes one feel one is on a swing. But for how long does a full belly remain full, Yarrow? When the belly gets empty, the swing snaps, the bones crack, and the person feels them stabbing his feet. Yes, we should get back to the head as soon as the belly is full. And it goes on. If one can see, Yarrow, one man alone can take care of 10 things. But if a man can't, get him to do only one thing. I think for both of you as well as for myself, Ratne, you only listen, as if you are not a complete man. Complete man? Even Humayun is not. Shall I ask you something? Don't interrupt, Ratne. I think I'll stop here and give a sample of another passage.
Maybe one more passage and then we can
Yes.
move on to the Hindi.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I'm trying to look for that where the fingers begin to see. Okay, there's another character, so there's an introduction of yet another character here. This talk about faces brought Roni to mind. That blind girl would often say to me, Sharfu, I don't know, but you would know. You would know. What do I look like? What could I say to her? If one is fated to find refuge in hell, how can one see the luster of the seventh heaven? Roni too lived with us in this home for the blind. She was very dear to me. Wherever she was, near, so far, this far, thus far, I would touch her and feel her in my mind and so see her. God knows why we called her Roni, the weeping one. She would break into laughter all the time for no reason at all. To see someone who is blind laugh so blindly was always scary for fear that the person might stumble and fall. That day, she was sitting in front of me, laughing as usual, and my ears stared unblinkingly at the laughing bundle unfolding before me. What are you staring at like that, Sharfu? At you, I wanted to tell Roni. But embarrassment flashing in my two dark hovels made me giggle. Go on, tell me, do you like me? Perhaps this is what is called blind love. One should neither be seen nor be able to see in love.
Thank you. So maybe now we can have a short, a short passage from the Hindi version to get a feeling for what it sounds like in the Hindi version.
Where we did not tell each other what passages we'd be reading, and strangely enough, I've chosen a passage that's in continuation to the first passage she read, which is, it's a house of blind, so it's there are all these blind characters in it. One of them is this guy who's speaking. यही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, अंधे की अकेली जिंदगी मौत से कम नहीं, पर इतने सारे अंधे हों तो जीने को सुधारा जा सकता है. मैंने एक बड़ी कारगर तरकीब सोची है, आओ इसे भी आजमाए लेते हैं. मैंने अपनी अंधी आंखें भोला की ओर उठा ली. नजर आता रहे यारों तो एक ही आदमी 10 काम संभाल सकता है, परंतु बेनजर आदमी के काम से काम लेना तो उससे एक ही काम लो. मैं केवल सोचता हूँ, तुम दोनों के लिए भी और अपने लिए भी. रत्ने, तू केवल सुन, मानो तुम पूरे आदमी नहीं, पूरे आदमी तो हुमायूं भी नहीं. एक बात पूछूं? टोको नहीं रत्ने, पहले सुन लो. मानो तुम कान ही कान हो, और तुम शर्फू, वह मुझसे संबोधित हुआ. मानो तुम केवल मुंह हो, तुम केवल बोलो. अंधेपन में सारी गड़बड़ यहीं से शुरू होती है कि हमें एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाना होता है. जरा सोचो, ठोकरों से बचने के लिए अंधा अपनी उसी एक जगह क्यों ना डटा रहे. परंतु सारा सोचना तो अब तुमने अपने सर ले लिया है भोला. हाँ, अब केवल मैं सोचूंगा. तो आओ शुरू करते हैं. लो, मैं केवल सुन रहा हूँ और मैं केवल बोल रहा हूँ. शाबाश, मैं केवल सोच रहा हूँ. जो हमने बोला है शर्फू, वह केवल तुमने बोला है, और जो हमने सुना है वह केवल तुमने सुनना है रत्ने, और मुझे केवल सोचना है. चलो शुरू करें. लो, मैं सोच रहा हूँ. तुम्हारी सारी सोच मेरी हो गई है, यानी मेरी बजाय तुम ही सोच रहे हो, यानी तुम्हारी बजाय मैं ही बोल रहा हूँ. मैं ठहरो बोला. मुझे लग रहा है कि हम 3 नहीं रहे, 1 हो गए हैं. हाँ, गौर से देख कर बताओ, हम 3 हैं या वाकई 1? हाँ, आँखों से ना सही, हम गौर से तो देख ही सकते हैं. हा हा हा, हंस क्यों रहे हो? मुझे ऐसा लगा है जैसे मैंने वाकई तुम दोनों की एक झलक देख लिया है. एक ही शक्ल, ना मालूम तुम वे थे या वह तुम. I want to read a tiny passage more,
Okay.
which is Roni, the woman character in this, and she's very strong and amazing. But this is when she's in a really bad time. She says, दूसरे दिन मैंने नानी को बताया, मैं बाजार में नहीं बैठूंगी. वह हंसकर बोली, तुम्हें कोई आलू मटर बेचना थोड़ी है जो बाजार में बैठो. इज्जत बेचने वालियां ठाठ से महलों में बैठती हैं. मुझसे ये धंधा ना होगा नानी. तुम देख तो सकती नहीं लड़की, अब तुम जहां आ पहुंची हो, यहाँ तुम्हें इसके सिवा कोई चारा नहीं है. तुम्हें वही करना होगा जो मैं कहूँ. नानी की दूसरी नवासियां मुझे समझाया करती थी, इसमें घबराने की क्या बात है, ये लोग बड़े बेवकूफ़ होते हैं, बस चुपचाप इन्हें सुनती रहो. बातें, सारी बातें वही करते हैं, और क्या, सब कुछ वे अपने आप ही कर लेते हैं, तुम्हें कुछ भी नहीं करना होता. अंधी हो तो क्या हुआ, उनकी भी आंखें कहाँ होती हैं. अंधे ना हो तो भटक कर इधर कैसे आ जाएं. अरे बाबा, जो होता है उसे देख के तुम्हें करना ही क्या है, बल्कि अच्छा ही है कि किसी को देख ही ना पाओ. पता नहीं हमारा काम अच्छा है या बुरा, पर ये कलूटे हमें नज़र ही ना आए तो हमें कुछ भी बुरा ना मालूम हो. तुम तो किस्मत वाली हो रोनी, जो देख ही ना सके, उसका क्या दोष कि वह क्या करता है.
Thank you. Thank you so much to the two of you. I would love to listen more to your readings, but I think considering the time, we have to move on.
Yeah.
Bhainchand,
I won't take too long. First of all, thank you very much for coming at this hour. Not many people get out of home to come to a 10 o'clock session, so I understand that. We have some distinguished guests, one all the way from Calcutta, one I don't know where he's from, all over the place. Let's say he's from Nimrana, and all of you welcome here. My first Calcutta. Oh, all right. My first duty is to thank Aditi ji and her father Arun from Vani Prakashan for believing in this novel and bringing it out in Hindi. I'm deeply honored that you did that. I'd also like to thank my translator, whom I've not met, recommended by Aditi ji, Neeru. She did a great job of translation, so I thank her also, and please convey this to her. Now, my Hindi is not great. At one time, I could read and write Hindi, but that was about 60 years ago. The language I spoke at home was not Gujarati. It was Bhojpuri, actually. Of all languages, Bhojpuri I spoke till I was about 18 or so, when I picked up some Gujarati. I grew up in Fiji Islands, where we have a large community from what used to be the United Provinces. So my knowledge of Hindi is limited. But I grew up on cinema, so the book has a lot to do with the movie industry. I started writing late in life. First half, until I was after 60, I wrote books. I did some articles before, but I started writing books. I did produce 4 books after the age of 60. By the time I was financially comfortable, to be very frank, and I could do what I pleased. So it was a passion, and 3 books were easy. Novel is a very difficult thing to write, and that's the book, my novel here. It's for sale, actually, if anybody wants to buy it afterwards. It's both in Hindi and English. It's my pride, and it's one of the achievements that I'm most proud of. So if any of you want to write, it's never too late. You can do it anytime. And I hope you do. If you like writing, please do. With that.
What a wonderful message. Thank you. Can you give us some background, before I ask you to read from the novel, give us some background.
Yes, I intend to do that. It's a story of a man who grew up in abject poverty. Actually, he and his father went door to door begging. Due to certain circumstances, the mother had run away with somebody else, and they were in bad situation. But he escaped that and came to Bombay on his own as a, I think, 16-year-old or something like that. I think it was 16 or 14. He came to Bombay and made a life for himself. Became very famous in the movie industry. Our film industry is the most democratic thing about India. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be a Muslim, you could be a Hindu. As long as you've got talent, they'll take you. Either as an actor or a technician, whatever. It's the most democratic thing we have in India. Unfortunately, the government keeps interfering in that secular industry. I won't go into that. So he makes a life of himself in Bombay, but his past eventually catches up with him. So that's the story.
Thank you. Could I ask you to maybe read a few passages?
Yes, of course I will.
Yeah.
And I will read a short passage. It happens before his big concert. He's engaged to be married to a Gujarati girl. He's from the Himalayas. I suppose around from Dharamshala area, because he was born on the banks of the river Ravi. So he is in love with a Gujarati, very wealthy Gujarati family's daughter. And on the last day of the concert, this is on the day of his final concert, and I'm reading from there. It starts in the morning. On the morning of the concert, a puja was organized at Ravi's home. It was Kokilaben's idea. Kokilaben was his mother-in-law to be. The ceremony was small. Besides the household staff and the priest, there were only Sandhya, his fiancée, and her parents present. The priest chanted mantras and poured ghee over the fire. Ravi's eyes watered. It was probably the smoke, but Sandhya could not help noticing. Is something wrong? She asked. I'm a little exhausted, that's all. It's a big day for you. Try and get some rest, she said. Ravi touched the feet of the two elders. God be with you, my son. Kokilavan put a tikka on his head. Ravi was not so sure about Shetji, his future father-in-law, but he knew that his mother-in-law loved him. He gave him a gold coin in a red velvet pouch. Sandhya still looked worried. Pain is necessary to produce music, Ravi said to her before he left. Ravi went to his room to wipe off the tikka with a wet cloth and change for the press conference which was being held in Midtown Hotel that day. The questions at the press conference were inane. One reporter asked about the compositions he had selected for that evening, and Ravi said he wanted to keep them as a surprise. There were questions about the engagement to Sandhya and a possible date for the wedding. Another reporter wanted to know if it was true that this concert was a prelude to the future of his father-in-law's political career, a question he evaded expertly. Once the conference was over, Ravi told his driver to take him to the stadium, where he checked the arrangements. He was particularly concerned about the comfort of his musicians. As arranged, he had a light lunch at Sergei's place with the family. Ravi had discouraged the old man from inviting the bigwigs of the city. In the afternoon, Ravi went to see Dolly. Dolly was the one he really loved, his girlfriend, so to speak, or a mistress, you can say. The police were here, she said, as soon as she opened the door to let him in. Whatever for? Is everything all right? I don't know. You tell me. The men, some row or something, went through my things. The thought made Dolly shudder. I was not at home. They took away your kurta, the one I had washed and ironed that night. Ravi sat down on the sofa, shaken. Minutes went by. Are you sure it was the kurta I gave you to wash? Yes, she said. He sat down for a long time in silence. It doesn't matter, he said finally. He seemed relieved. He got up to leave. Had he come to the concert tonight? As soon as he said that, he regretted it. I have not been invited, said Dolly. There was a tinge of bitterness in her voice. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. He put his arms around her and kissed her hard. It made her cry. Dolly knew this was the last time she would ever see him. I love you. As he said it, his mind ticked off the number of years he had known her. I know, she said. She could have told him the months and the days as well. I should have married you, he says. I know, she smiled and ran the back of her hand down his cheek. He reached in his pocket and took out a cloth pouch. I want you to have these. He handed it to her. She opened the pouch and took out 2 gold bangles. They were exquisite designs, perhaps generations old. These are beautiful. Thank you. They once belonged to my mother, he says. He never told her about his parents or his past. She had always been curious, but was as a nature, she never asked. I will treasure them. Her eyes glistened. He put his hand on the doorknob to let himself out. He hesitated. I was named after a river, he said. Ravi is a lovely name. Our hut was on its bank, and we lived off its bounties as it rippled past our lives. He paused for a long time. My mother was a whore, he said, his voice breaking. Dolly was alarmed. What a thing to say. She removed the handkerchief from his pocket and wiped his mouth. Are you all right? I was 6 years old. My father told me my mother was a whore, he said. I did not know what it meant. She stood by my bed while I pretended to be asleep. In the morning she left. I could smell her the way she always smelled when I was close to her. I followed her to the door, watched her climb into a truck at the end of the path from our hut to the road. I heard the engine come to life and saw the truck disappear down the road in a dusty haze. I think she saw me. I'm not so sure. My father's voice was almost a whisper when he said it. Neither of us ever mentioned her again. She must have had a good reason for leaving you, Dolly said gently. We wouldn't have survived if she stayed with us. Ravi said, it was a long time before I realized that. Do you think of her sometimes? She asked. Every day of my life, he said. Good luck tonight, said Dolly. You are supposed to say, break a leg. That too. He paused at the elevator and turned back to where she waited. A lump again swelling in his throat. You know something? What? All these years, she never probed into my background. She didn't ask what caste I belonged to. Sandhya, not even a mother. And that's the strangest part. A mother does not even go to a restaurant for fear of eating out of a polluted plate. She must have told her parents not to, perhaps. It was not the first time that Ravi marveled that Dolly never expressed any hostility towards Sandhya. Never complained, never probed. You are lucky to have managed to erase your past. I could not, Dolly said. Did I? I know so little about you. As it turns out, I don't know very much about me either. We are alike, you and me. We keep our past to ourselves. We are both painted goods. He smiled. Dolly laughed. Speak for yourself. It was time to go. He pressed the button and waited for the elevator to arrive. As the door closed, Ravi saw Dolly stand in her doorway with her arms crossed. A single tear escaped her eye. I'll stop here. She'll read a little longer than that.
Thank you so much for this wonderful passage. So let's hear, maybe for a few minutes, a little bit of the Hindi translation.
So the passage that I read out here is actually the Hindi translation to what Bhainchand read. This is a very important part of the novel where we are moving very fast towards the climax of the novel. And so what the past of this character Ravi, who's the main character in the novel, is not very clean. It's murky. It's how it is for the people who rise from such lows and make a life for themselves. He had to fend himself in ways unimaginable. And now he is on the brink of a time where everything is paying off. And which is why this passage, Bhainchand and I collectively chose, because we think that he's leaving behind what truly matters in life and moving towards materialistic goods. And how it turns out remains to be seen, but this is what it is about the passage that I take up now. And I'll read a Hindi translation to what Bhainchand read in English. संगीत कार्यक्रम के दिन सुबह रवि के घर पूजा का आयोजन किया गया। इसका सुझाव कोकिला बेन ने दिया था। यह आयोजन छोटा सा था। घर के स्टाफ और पुजारी के अलावा केवल संध्या और उसके माता पिता ही इस अवसर पर उपस्थित थे। पुजारी ने मंत्रोच्चारण किया और अग्नि में घी डाला। रवि की आंखों में पानी आ गया। ये शायद धुएं के कारण था, लेकिन संध्या का ध्यान उस ओर चला गया। क्या कुछ हुआ? बस मैं थोड़ा थक गया हूँ। आज का दिन तो तुम्हारे लिए बहुत बड़ा दिन है। कोशिश करो, थोड़ा आराम कर दो, उसने कहा। रवि ने दोनों बड़ों के पांव छुए। भगवान तुम्हारा भला करे बेटा। कोकिला बेन ने उसके माथे पर टीका लगाया। रवि सेठ जी के बारे में तो निश्चित नहीं था, लेकिन वो जानता था कि कोकिला बेन उसे प्यार करती थी। उन्होंने रवि को लाल रंग की मखमली थैली में सोने का एक सिक्का दिया। संध्या अभी भी परेशान दिखाई दे रही थी। रवि ने जाने से पहले उससे कहा, संगीत रचना के लिए थोड़ी पीड़ा जरूरी है। रवि गीले कपड़े से टीका हटाने और इसके बाद होने वाली प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए कपड़े बदलने अपने कमरे में चला गया। प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस शहर के बीचों बीच एक होटल में थी, एक ऐसा स्थान जहां मीडिया प्रतिनिधियों के लिए दोनों दिशाओं से पहुंचना आसान था। बेहुदे सवाल पूछे जा रहे थे। एक रिपोर्टर ने शाम के लिए उसके द्वारा चुनी गई संगीत रचना के बारे में पूछा। रवि ने कहा कि वो उन्हें सरप्राइज देना चाहता है। संध्या से उसकी सगाई और विवाह की संभावित तिथि के बारे में सवाल पूछे गए। एक और रिपोर्टर ये जानना चाहता था कि क्या ये कॉन्सर्ट उसके भावी ससुर के राजनीतिक कैरियर की शुरुआत से पूर्व है। रवि ने इस प्रश्न को चतुराई से टाल दिया। कॉन्फ्रेंस समाप्त होने के बाद रवि ने अपने ड्राइवर से स्टेडियम चलने के लिए कहा, जहां उसने तैयारियों का जायजा लिया। ये विशेष रूप से अपने वाद्य वादकों की सुविधा के लिए चिंतित था। व्यवस्था के अनुसार उसने सेठ जी के घर पर परिवार के साथ ही दोपहर का भोजन किया। रवि ने सेठ जी को नगर के पहुंचे हुए लोगों को आमंत्रित करने से मना किया था। दोपहर बाद रवि डॉली से मिलने गया। पुलिस यहाँ आई थी। उसके भीतर आने के लिए दरवाज़ा खोलते ही डॉली ने कहा, क्यों, सब ठीक ठाक तो है? मुझे नहीं मालूम, तुम बताओ। उस आदमी, कोई राव या किसी और ने मेरा सारा सामान टटोला है। ये विचार ही डॉली को झकझोर गया। मैं घर पर नहीं थी, वो तुम्हारा कुर्ता ले गए हैं, वही कुर्ता जो मैंने उस रात धोकर प्रेस किया था। रवि सोफे पर बैठ गया, घबराया हुआ। मिनट बीतते रहे। तुम्हें विश्वास है कि ये वही कुर्ता था जो मैंने तुम्हें धोने के लिए दिया था? हाँ। वो देर तक खामोश बैठा रहा। इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, आखिरकार उसने कहा। ऐसा लगता है कि वो राहत महसूस कर रहा था। वो जाने के लिए उठा। तुम आज रात कॉन्सर्ट में आ रही हो? ये कहते ही उसे पछतावा हुआ। मुझे आमंत्रित नहीं किया गया है। उसकी आवाज़ में कड़वाहट थी। मुझे माफ़ कर दो, मुझसे बहुत गलती हो गई। उसने उसे अपनी बाहों में लिया और ज़ोर से चूम लिया। वो रो उठी। डॉली जानती थी कि वो उसे आखिरी बार देख रही है। मैं तुम्हें प्यार करता हूँ। जैसे ही उसने कहा, उसके मस्तिष्क में कौंध गया वो कितने वर्षों से डॉली को जानता था। मैं जानती हूँ। वो उसे महीनों और दिनों की गिनती भी बता सकती थी। मुझे तुमसे विवाह कर लेना चाहिए था। हाँ। वो मुस्कुराई और अपनी हथेली के पिछले भाग को उसने उसके गालों पर फिराया। उसने अपनी जेब में हाथ डाला और कपड़े की एक थैली निकाली। मैं चाहता हूँ कि तुम ये ले लो। उसने डॉली को थैली पकड़ा दी। डॉली ने थैली खोली। उसमें से 2 सोने की चूड़ियाँ निकली। उनका डिज़ाइन बहुत बारीक था। शायद वे पीढ़ियों पुरानी थी। ये बहुत सुंदर है, धन्यवाद। ये कभी मेरी माँ की थी। उसने कभी भी डॉली को अपने माता पिता या अपने अतीत के बारे में नहीं बताया था। उसे इच्छा तो हमेशा होती थी, लेकिन जैसा कि उसका स्वभाव था, उसने पूछा कभी नहीं था। मैं इन्हें संभाल कर रखूंगी। उसकी आंखें भीग गईं। रवि ने बाहर निकलने के लिए दरवाजे की मूठ पर अपना हाथ रखा। फिर वह ठिठका। मेरा नाम एक नदी के नाम पर रखा गया था, उसने कहा। रवि बहुत प्यारा नाम है। हमारी झोपड़ी रावी के किनारे थी और हम इसकी समृद्धि पर निर्भर थे। वो बहुत देर तक चुप रहा। मेरी माँ एक वैश्या थी, उसने बताया। उसकी आवाज़ भर्रा गई। डॉली चौकन्नी हो गई। ये तुम क्या कह रहे हो? उसने रवि की जेब से रुमाल निकाला और उसका मुंह पोंछ दिया। तुम ठीक तो हो? जब मैं 6 वर्ष का था तो मेरे पिता ने बताया कि मेरी माँ एक वैश्या है, उसने कहा। तब मुझे इसका अर्थ नहीं मालूम था। जिस सुबह वो हमें छोड़कर गई, वो मेरे बिस्तर के पास खड़ी रही और मैं सोने का बहाना करता पड़ा रहा। मैं उसकी महक पहचान सकता था, वो महक जो उसके निकट जाने पर मुझे महसूस होती थी। मैं दरवाजे तक उसके पीछे गया। हमारी झोपड़ी से सड़क तक के मार्ग के अंत में एक ट्रक पर मैंने उसे चढ़ते देखा। मैंने इंजन के चालू होने की आवाज़ भी सुनी और ट्रक को धूल की धुंधलके में गायब होते देखा। मेरा ख्याल है कि उसने मुझे देखा था, लेकिन मुझे ठीक से याद नहीं। मेरे पिता ने मेरी माँ के बारे में ये बात लगभग बुदबुदाते हुए कही। फिर हम दोनों में से किसी ने उसका जिक्र नहीं किया। उनके पास तुम्हें छोड़कर जाने के लिए कोई तो ठोस कारण होगा, डॉली ने धीरे से कहा। अगर वो हमारे साथ रहती तो हम जीवित न बचते, रवि ने कहा। बहुत पहले मुझे यह एहसास हो गया था। क्या तुम कभी भी उनके बारे में सोचते हो? उसने पूछा। अपनी जिंदगी के हर दिन। आज रात के लिए तुम्हें शुभकामनाएं, डॉली ने कहा। रवि लिफ्ट के पास रुका और मुड़कर डॉली के पास आया। उसका गला फिर भर्रा रहा था। तुम्हें मालूम है क्या, इतने वर्षों में उसने कभी मेरे बचपन या अतीत के बारे में नहीं पूछा। उसने नहीं पूछा कि मैं किस जाति का हूँ। संध्या, उसकी माँ ने भी नहीं। उसकी माँ ने भी नहीं, और वही सबसे अधिक चकित करने वाला है। उसकी माँ जूठी प्लेट से खाना खाने के डर से रेस्तरां भी नहीं जाती। संध्या ने अपने माता पिता से तुमसे ऐसा पूछने के लिए नहीं कहा होगा, शायद। ये पहली बार नहीं था कि रवि हैरान था कि डॉली ने संध्या के प्रति कभी द्वेष नहीं दिखाया था, कभी शिकायत नहीं की थी, कभी नहीं पूछा था। तुम भाग्यशाली हो कि तुम अपने अतीत को मिटा सके। मैं ऐसा नहीं कर पाई, डॉली ने कहा। क्या सचमुच में ऐसा कर सका? मैं तुम्हारे बारे में कितना कम जानती हूँ। मुझे तो लगता है कि मैं अपने बारे में भी कुछ नहीं जानता। हम सब जीते हैं, तुम और मैं। हम अपने अतीत को अपने तरीके अपने तक रखते हैं। हम दोनों झूठी वस्तुएं हैं। वो मुस्कुराया। डॉली हंस पड़ी। अपनी बात करो। जाने का समय हो गया था। उसने बटन दबाया और लिफ्ट के आने की प्रतीक्षा करने लगा। जब लिफ्ट का दरवाज़ा बंद हुआ तो रवि ने डॉली को अपने दरवाजे पर खड़े देखा। उसकी आंख से आंसू का एक कतरा गिर गया था।
Thank you. Thank you so much to both of you, or all of you, also for the Hindi readings. Unfortunately, we don't have any time to hear more of your readings and translations and to discuss even the questions from the audience. We have to skip, but if you have anything, I think you can. No, we are out of time, but if you have any questions, I think you can just approach him.
You said that you're an academic. In fact, I don't know enough about you or the book, but I think the role that you play is very important in the context that you explained, that it is your father, it is your mother, it is, you've lived it. So I wouldn't call it just a translation, you know. I think I have an uncle in Calcutta, who, P. Lal, who used this term. He used to say transliteration, he used to say. And yes. No, he used to talk to me about this. But I think that because it's literature, because you're creating and you're saying, I think you should use this, and you should be less distant from it. I think you should take ownership of this, you know. Yes. That's modesty, maybe, but I think you add something to it. You know, it's not that you subtract something in that translation.
I think I understand what you are saying, and you know, I've always been trying to basically understand even academically, and it's important to do that. As to how do we draw lines between the personal and the impersonal, the private and the public? So, to what extent is this whole idea of objectivity that gets into both translation and writing?
No, I'm speaking specifically of you. If you were doing the Mahabharata, it would be different. But in this case, I think you should take ownership. It's almost a joint writing.
No, I totally agree with you. The ownership has to be there. Because if it is not there, you're not able to recreate, and the book has to actually live in its autonomy.
Absolutely.
It has to become, even the translated text has to, as I was saying yesterday, it has to stand on its own legs.
Absolutely.
And for it to acquire its own head and heart and everything, if the translator is not owning it, it won't happen.
It's wonderful. Even in this book, you know, both the versions are equally moving. So it's not lost in translation. It's actually well found out or carried forward. Really.
Yes, I can't tell you what a joy it is to hear the Hindi translation, because we rarely get such an opportunity in Calcutta, in the sense that it is strong in Calcutta, but we don't hear it so often. And I really enjoyed listening to the Hindi version of Bhaichand's book, which I had earlier read in English. I think it brought something really fresh and new. Thank you. It's better both ways.
To Vani Prakashan and Aditi for a fantastic translation.
But she did it very well.
Yes, she did it.
Now, I have some questions. They're 300 rupees each. If you buy it, it will stop me from taking them to Delhi. Please buy it so I don't have to carry it back to Delhi. 300 rupees each. I'll even give a discount if you want to take it.
I want the first one signed.
God bless every publisher with an author like you.